bonus march. World War I veterans are marching on Washington because they want to receive their bonus payments early because they are broke. They have no money. They're poor. It's Great Depression. Everyone's poor. Yes. $160, the first New Deal. It's during FDR's first 100 days. It's his plan of relief, recovery, and reform. We get things like the CCC, the NIRA, the PWA, the AAA, the FDIC. I sound like I can't sing my alphabet. Do I need to review what each one of those does? Do we remember? We don't remember. You just took a test over there. Last Friday. The CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, those are young men doing dams, conservation projects. The NIRA is to improve industrial conditions in factories. The PWA, the Public Works Administration, roads. They work with the Civil Works Administration for like schools, playgrounds, neighborhoods. The AAA, Agricultural Adjustment Act, going to pay farmers a subsidy, going to get them to destroy some of their crops so that way profits go up, and the FDIC ensuring bank deposits. 161, good neighbor policy. FDR is going to withdraw the Marines from Haiti, Dominican Republic, and others we had been occupying and monitoring. We're going to stay out of the Cuban Revolution going on at that time and reach an agreement with Mexico over property. Like a good neighbor. No, not really. 162, Schechter versus the United States. The Supreme Court declares the NIRA specifically unconstitutional, as well as a few others. This is where we were going to get 169, FDR's court packing plan. We'll get there in a second. 163, the Dust Bowl. Bless you. The Great Plains are just devastated by drought, famine, and we get dust storms. So the Okies move to California. Bless you. 164, the second New Deal. Just more of FDR's reforms. These is where we get the WPA, the Works Progress Administration, the Wagner Act, or the National Labor Relations. There we go. National Labor Oh my gosh. National Labor Relations Act and the Social Security Act. 165, the Wagner Act, clarifies the rights of workers, and we get the National Labor Relations Board. God, that time. Andy.
No, I'm serious. I didn't get to it right now.
National Labor Relations Board. 2 times in a row.
It clarifies the word.
Like the rights of workers. After the NIRA is declared unconstitutional, the Labor Relations Board comes in and adds some rights. Like wages, hours, no child labor, that kind of stuff. Where am I? Oh, they're also going to oversee the management and the like labor unions. 166, Social Security Act, benefits to retirees, disabled, widows, and dependents. 167, Huey Long is assassinated. He was the one behind our Share Our Wealth program. He said, if you make everyone a king, give every family $5,000. But he's killed by someone who's afraid he's going to be too much like a dictator, too much power. He was the governor of Louisiana. (168) Congress of Industrial Organization is created. These are going to be laborers from the steel and auto industries in reaction to the AFL. They will eventually join up with the AFL and become the AFL-CIO, American Federation of Labor, Congress of Industrial Organization. Auto industry workers. And they're headed up by John L. Lewis.
It still exists to this day.
169, we already kind of touched on, but FDR's court packing plan, he wants to increase the number of justices in order to have a majority and not be declared unconstitutional again. Pardon? Increase the number of justices, so then he will have a majority and he won't have his stuff declared unconstitutional again. It doesn't pass. A lot of people were afraid he'd become too much like a dictator, too much power, because then he would be president, he'd have a majority on the court, and he'd have a majority in Congress. Wake up. I missed. Morning. Don't have any water bottle to spray. What?
Look away.
Oh. Well, this.
No, I was right.
Oh, whatever.
Oh.
I was saying you said
Hey, love.
I was asleep last week.
170, the Roosevelt recession, 1937 to 38. There's a huge downturn in the economy. A lot of people become concerned about the huge debt that has acquired because of the New Deal programs. Um, 171, the Lend-Lease Act. The United States will give aid to Great Britain.
Great Britain. No, the land.
Lend-Lease, number 171.
Yeah, but who's aiding them?
The United States is going to give aid to Great Britain. And if this is where with the Lend-Lease, instead of having the cash and carry policy, where if you have the cash and you bring your own ships, then you can take it out, then they'll loan the supplies to Great Britain and they can pay for it after. I know this is stuff that's new. 172, the Atlantic Charter. Roosevelt and Churchill sign it. It outlines the path of disarmament, peace, security, human rights awareness, lays some of the groundwork for the United Nations. Number 173, Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. A date which will live in infamy. That's a quote from FDR's speech to Congress. Like 2,300 died. So the United States enters World War II. 174, Japanese-American internment. 120,000 or so Japanese, especially on the West Coast, are moved to relocation centers because there's a whole lot of public fear and a whole lot of racial discrimination. 175, Normandy invasion, that is D-Day, June 6th, 1944. General Patton lands in France with the troops. General Eisenhower invading France, pushing towards Berlin. .176, the GI Bill, provides educational benefits to World War II soldiers. It's also to help them adjust to civilian life and get higher education. And it is going to promote volunteerism for military service. .177, the Yalta Conference. Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin is going to divide Germany into 4 zones. Begin to form the United Nations. Number 178, the Potsdam Conference. Truman, because where's Roosevelt?
Died.
Died. Truman, Churchill, his replacement, Attlee, and Stalin are going to discuss the occupation of Germany and Japan, the reparations that will be required of Germany, and they're going to issue a declaration to Japan saying surrender or you will be destroyed.
They weren't kidding.
No, they really weren't kidding. 179, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The atomic bomb is designed by the Manhattan Project with Oppenheimer and Einstein. It is very controversial. Dropping of the bomb. The United States ultimately wants Japan to surrender, and they do after both bombs. August 6th and August 9th, 1945.
So they didn't surrender here, so
Mm-mm.
they bombed them.
They didn't surrender with the declaration from any conference, any warnings, nothing. And so when the atomic bomb drops, I mean, it just devastates everything when you drop an atomic bomb. Like, if it drops on a person, you disintegrate. There's nothing left of you. The nuclear fallout, like, killed their soil. They still can't grow things there. I mean, it takes decades to get over that because of the nuclear fallout. Uh-huh.
The name of the bomb that hit Hiroshima was Fat Man, right?
Yeah.
No, that's Little Boy.
Little Boy was.
They dropped Little Boy first.
Or,
Little boy,
Fat Man was
Hiroshima,
the second one?
Nagasaki is Fat Man.
Hiroshima was Little Boy.
And Nagasaki is Fat Man.
So the second one was worse.
They're both bad.